Okay, so for a geometric series then, just like arithmetic series, it means we're going to take that sequence of numbers and just add them up. And they talk about here the formula for how they got the formula, and then we're going to use this formula here to find the sum of a geometric series. So this sum says that we're going to do a sub 1, take our first term, and then we're going to multiply it by 1 minus r raised to the power of n divided by 1 minus r. So we need to know, once again, okay, those same three things we always want to know. What's the value of n? What's the first term? And in this case, the common ratio. And if I know those three things, then I can find the sum of however many terms they want me to find. So this formula is something, and just like arithmetic, you don't have to use the formula. Okay? You can write all the numbers out and add them up if you want. Okay? It's up to you. Okay? Sometimes the formula helps if there's a lot of numbers. Okay? Sometimes you can just add them up and it'll be easier. Okay, so we want to find the sum of the first 8 terms here for letter A. So we need to know a sub 1 in this case is what? What's the first term of the series? 1. Okay. R, the common ratio. What do we do to get from one term to the next term in the series? Okay. We're multiplying by 2, right? All we have to do is do a little division to find R. R is 2 divided by 1. Okay. Or R is 16 divided by 8. All right, you can take any two consecutive terms, divide them, and that tells you the value of R. And n in this case is what? 8, because we want to find this s sub 8, so n is 8. So I'm just going to plug them into the formula. Okay, so s sub 8 equals, and here's the formula again. This tells us the sum, so we have a sub 1 is 1 times 1 minus 2 to the 8th power divided by 1 minus 2. And you can just plug that in your calculator, and what do you get? Savannah, what'd you get? 255. Right? 2 to the 8th power is 256. Yeah. Okay. 1 minus 256 is negative 255. And divide that by negative 1, and we get positive 255. Okay. All right. Let's look at letter B. The sum, as k goes from 1 to 6, of the absolute value of 1/2 raised to the power of k minus 1. Now, like I said, if you want, you can put in the numbers 1 through 6 for k, find the answers and add them up if you want. Okay? Or you could use the formula. So in this case, what's a sub 1? We put 1 in for k, right? To figure it out. Okay. So if I put 1 in for k, what's 1 minus 1? 0. Okay, so 1/2 to the power of 0 is 1. The value of r is what? What's being raised to a power? 1/2 is. Okay. R, when it's in this form here for summation notation, r is what's being raised to the power. Okay. R is the number raised to the power, and n in this case is, how many terms are we adding up? 6, because 1 to 6, so we're adding up 6 of them. So we have s sub 6 equals 1 times 1 minus 1/2 to the 6th power divided by 1 minus 1/2. So let's see, 1/2 to the 6th power. 2 to the 6th power is 64. Right. So this is 1 minus 1 over 64 divided by 1/2. And so this is 63 over 64 divided by 1/2, right? Okay. So what are we supposed to do when we're dividing fractions? Multiply by the reciprocal. All right. So 63 over 64 times 2 cuts the denominator in half, so we have 63 over 32. That didn't work right. Make this one. Whoa, where'd it go? Yeah, you gotta go more. No, shouldn't be any. Huh. Look at that. Oh, well. There we go. 63 over 632. Okay. All right. Story problem. Okay, an online video game tournament begins with 1,024 players. 4 players play in each game, and each game only the winner advances to the next round. How many games must be played to determine the winner? Right. So we're going to let n be the number of rounds, a sub n be the number of games played in the nth round, and s sub n would be the total number of games played through n rounds. Okay? So we need to find an explicit formula for this. Right? So our explicit formula is a sub n equals a sub 1 times r raised to the power of n minus 1. So in this case, what is the value of a sub 1? Okay, 1,024. So we started with 1,024 participants. And what is our common ratio then? 1/4 is our common ratio. Okay. Remember, it says 4 people play, only 1 moves on. Okay. So 1/4. Okay. All right. So we need to find the number of rounds required to get to the winner. Okay. All right. Well, let's see. Wait a second here. All right. So it says online video game tournament is 1,024. 4 players play in each game, and in each game, only the winner advances next round. How many games must be played to determine the winner? Okay. So we're just trying to find the total number of games, right? Okay. But we need to know the number of rounds because we need to be able to find s sub n. Okay. And we don't know what n is. Right. So how can we figure out how many rounds there are required to do this? Well, let's see. Okay, we start with 1,024, right? Okay. And we're trying to get 1,024 down to 1 individual. Okay. So we need to figure out what it's going to take to get there. So we have 1,024, all right? Okay. What? 256 after the first round, right? Okay. 64. Okay. 16, 4, and then 1. Okay, now, let's think about this for a second. If we start with 1,024 individuals, okay, how many games were played with those 1,024 individuals? Okay. Well, how many individuals are involved in each game? 4. Okay. So what's 1,024 divided by 4? 256. So in round 1, there were 256 games. All right. We're actually going to be able to find this answer without using our formula. So, okay. In round 2, then, there were 64 games. Because we're talking about the individuals, right? Okay. If there's 1,024 players, okay, and 4 players involved in each game, then there's only 256 games played in the first round. Okay. So round 2 would have 64 games. Let's see, this is the number of games, not the players. Round 3, then, there would be 16 games. Round 4, there would be 4 games. And then round 5, there would be 1 game. Okay? So there are 5 rounds to this. And so then to find the total, all I need to do is add those up, which that would be the easiest way to do this. Okay? So 256 plus 64 is 320, and 21 is 341, right? Okay. So there's 341 games. Does that make sense? Somewhat?